Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Google Fi. What is Google Fi? I'm going to talk about 3 select groups that definitely should look at Google Fi as an option. But what is Google Fi? I'm Ron Brown and this is Tech for Senior, where we help people understand technology and even save them some money purchasing cell phones or on their cell phone plans. If you haven't already, I'd sure appreciate that like and subscribe. And we are a nonprofit organization, and that donation to our coffee fund really helps us keep going. So let's see what I have to say about Google Fi. So what is Google Fi? Well, Google Fi is Google's phone service. You probably haven't heard of it, but it's a lot like Verizon, T-Mobile. They actually have cell phone plans, cell phones, and are Google's, I guess, cellular phone service. It started sort of secretly back in 2015 when you needed a Nexus phone to actually access this service. Yes, Google, that's the precursor to the Pixel phone. So way back in 2015, if you bought a Google phone, which was a Nexus phone at that time, you could subscribe to Google Fi. Although nobody really knew a lot about it, you pretty much had to be invited. Now in 2018, life had changed a bit. I bought my first Pixel 3 phone, and at that time I wanted to use Google Fi as a service, and I actually subscribed to it and used it for 10 years. I don't use it now, and I'll explain that in the video. So I started by purchasing my Pixel 3 phone from Google. I went to the Google store in 2018 and I bought a Pixel 3 phone. This was a big mistake because I didn't understand that Google Fi is actually a separate branch of Google and they don't actually talk to one another. So I got my Pixel 3 phone and was going to contact Google Fi, get a SIM card, organize it, and get things done. But what happened was when I went to Google Fi, I saw not only did they have my Pixel phone on sale, but as a promotion, they gave you about 6 months of free service. This was an unbelievable deal, but only available at Google Fi. So the first thing I wanted to let everyone know is if you are looking at purchasing a new phone, a Pixel phone, then please look at Google Fi first because you may get an added benefit by purchasing it directly from them. Yes, it is Google, but you know, that's the way it is. And buy it from Google Fi, and then you will get added benefit as to the plans that may be available for you. So let me try and deal with some of the confusion about who can use Google Fi. Google Fi is available to residents of the United States who have a U.S. billing address. So it's not limited to U.S. citizens, but you do have to live in the United States or have a U.S. billing address. Now it's also available to Guam, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So this is important to know for those three groups of people I'm going to talk about who definitely should consider this plan. So it'll become obvious in the video. Now, one of the hallmarks of Google Fi is their internationally roaming plan for data. And this will become apparent, and it is available now in about 200 countries around the world. This makes this plan exceptionally good for one class of people, and that is travelers. Yes, if you are a frequent traveler traveling outside the United States, this is the plan you want to definitely consider because of the international roaming feature. We'll talk about that in a minute, but our friends, of course, Chris and Jim Gould from Geeks on Tour, which I'll put a link down to their website, are always traveling, whether it's in the air, on cruise ships, or traveling in their motorhome. They are always on the road. They've made a number of videos, and I'll put some of the links in the description about using Google Fi and how happy they are with the service. So definitely, if you are a traveler and you travel outside the United States for periods of time, then it is definitely something you want to consider. Now, I will say that a lot has changed over the past few years. If you are mostly stay in the United States and maybe take one trip a year, maybe you go for 2 weeks over to Europe, most of the cell phone plans now have an international part of their plan that you can purchase that is really pretty cheap. And you can keep your same phone number, let's say with Verizon, and just purchase their 2-week pack to Europe. And you may want to consider that rather than switching to Google Fi. But if you are traveling frequently outside the United States, and that could also include cruises and ships, did you know that 90% of the cruise ships never actually leave the coast? They're actually usually within a mile or two of coastal communication, which means your phones will be good for traveling around the Caribbean, Mediterranean, or Northern Europe most of the time. So it's not just foot travel, it could be air travel and also cruise travel. Google Fi has you covered for all those destinations. So if you are a frequent traveler, then you really want to look at Google Fi. So the first group of people that should use Google Fi, of course, now are international travelers. Before we get to the second and third group, I want to explain just what Google Fi is. Google Fi is actually an MVNO. Now, what does that stand for? That's a mobile virtual network operator. Now, you're going to say, that's weird. What is that? Well, it just means that they don't own the telephone lines. They rent them. Now, other examples of this would include Mint Mobile, would be Track Mobile, would be Boost Mobile, and of course, a popular one is Consumer Cellular. These are all examples of MVNOs, of which Google Fi is one of them. Now, what type of phones can you bring to Google Fi? Well, you can really bring any phones at all. Google Fi uses T-Mobile and US Cellular to carry their services. And any phones that are compatible with those companies would work with Google Fi. Now, that was not the case many years ago. Back with my Pixel 3, they'd just allow Apple to actually use Google Fi. But that's all changed now. They pretty much allow anybody. You can use them. They have SIM cards or eSIM cards, and anyone can really, with most phones, can sign up for Google Fi. You also don't have to purchase your phone. You can bring an existing phone if you've bought a Samsung phone or from another carrier, no problem at all. You can just bring your phone along, and they'll provide either an eSIM or a regular SIM card, and you'll be able to connect. So the second group of people that I think would be perfect for this service are snowbirds from the northern United States coming down to either Florida or Mesa. So this works great, and you can either bring your own phone number and port it over, or you can apply for a new phone number with Google Fi. And you could maybe have a dual SIM on your phone and have 2 different numbers. I'll leave that up to you. But what I wanted to tell you about, when you go to apply for Google Fi, you get to choose the city that you want to get a phone number for. They have phone numbers for all the cities. So you could choose, let's say, if you were going to live in Mesa, I would want a Mesa phone number. Now, from experience, I can tell you that each month, Google Fi takes a block of numbers and moves them into their account for different cities. Mesa being very popular, the numbers frequently get used up. If you don't get a number that you want for your city, I would wait. Just go back in a week's time, reapply, and see if the numbers are there. Try it, because within a month, I'm sure you're going to find that they will have dumped a bunch of numbers in, and you'll be able to get the number you want. And that really makes a big difference, because I wanted a phone number that was in Mesa. That was really important to me, how I wanted to work my phone system. So do that. Now, the other thing you've got to remember, what we're going to talk about in a minute, is their data plan. Remember I talked to you about that international data plan? Well, that also works in the United States. So if you are coming from another location and you're paying T-Mobile for a data plan and a phone number, this will work great for you, and it's very portable. If you're gonna, it'll work in both residences for you. So think about that. This is where the beauty of this plan really works well. So think about that if you are a snowbird coming from the northern part of the United States to the south. I think that would work really well. Before I discuss the third group of people, it's important to talk about the plan. Now, long distance calling on Google Fi is included for long distance in Canada, United States, and Mexico. So it doesn't matter which country you're in, long distance calling is included in your plan. Think of those three countries as one great big group, and anytime you call, it's all included in your plan. So this brings me to the third group of people, and that, of course, are the Canadian snowbirds that are actually wintering in the United States. I did that, and for 10 years I wintered in Mesa, and this was an absolute great deal. Let me explain why. Because as a winter resident, you undoubtedly will have a US address, a billing address, which allows you to qualify to get Google Fi. When you go and travel around the United States, that's fine. You'll have your phone covered and also your data plan covered. So when you go back to Canada, no charge for all your calls, and as well, you can use your data plan because now this is international roaming, so your data plan will work. It is a great deal. You can even hotspot the data plan on your phone so you can use it around your house for different devices that you want to connect. But as long as you continue to do winter residence in the United States, you'll be fine. If you spend more than 6 months outside the United States, Google Fi knows where you are because, of course, they have the SIM card in your phone. You'll start to get messages like, hey, you better get home because we're going to cut you off. And so they're a little bit concerned about that. So you can't just take a SIM card and live outside of the United States for a longer period of time. They do monitor it, and based on my experience, if you are a winter resident, usually you'll be down there for 4 or 5 months, you'll be fine. You might get 1 or 2 notifications, but by the time you go back, and as soon as it triggers when you go across the border, you'll be fine and you'll be back in. The system will reset. Now, in my situation, when we sold our home and moved back into Canada, we didn't need Google Fi anymore, and I found other alternatives that worked better for me. So I wondered what would happen if I just kept using it. And ultimately, of course, they did catch up to me. Now, interestingly enough, and here's what happened to me, they won't actually cancel your plan. All as they do is will turn off the international data roaming part, and then they'll charge you for the data. The phone system will still work. You can still be a member of their Google Fi plan. It's just the international data roaming which they will turn off. Now, but ultimately what happened is they have an option when you decide to wrap up your plan. You can take your Google Fi number and you can actually apply it to Google Voice. And you're going to say, well, what's Google Voice? Well, it's a virtual phone number, virtual telephone system in the sky that Google runs. I guess that's a topic of another video. But the point is, you can park that phone number in Google Voice, and you can actually send and receive texts in Google Voice. All right, before we get into the actual price, let's talk about the advantages of Google Fi. First is affordability. Google Fi's pricing structure is perfect for the users who want to avoid overpaying for unused data. With the flexible plan starting at $20 a month, the unlimited plan offers competitive rates. It's a cost-effective solution for many. Now, unlike traditional carriers, Google Fi doesn't lock you into any long-term contract. You can cancel or change your plan anytime without penalties. Even if you bought a phone through Google Fi, all you have to do is pay off the balance of the phone. It's traveler friendly. Wherever you go on a business trip or vacation, Google Fi ensures that you are connected seamlessly in over 220 countries around the world. When you go to those countries and you turn your phone on, you are instantly connected to Google Fi. Seamless connectivity. The ability to switch between multiple networks and Wi-Fi provides consistent, reliable service. So when you go to, again, different parts of the world, you're just automatically connected. Google Fi's management app allows you to easily and quickly change plans and see what your balance is. I used it for 10 years and it couldn't be simpler. But we're going to talk now about the greatest feature of this plan, and that's the flexibility. Let me show you the pricing structure and why this is so cool. All right, here is a summary of the 3 plans available for you. These are in US dollars and for one person. If you go to Google Fi's site, you can see and easily switch to 2 or 3 or 4 people you want to enroll in the plan. So this is in US pricing for one person. So the first plan you can see from this diagram is the flexible plan, and it starts at $20 a month and plus $10 a gigabit for data. And again, you only pay for what you use. And my memory is that it only charges you part of that $10. So again, you're only paying for the data as a pay-as-you-go. Now for hotspotting, it gives you full speed at $10 per gigabit. Again, you get free calls anywhere in Canada, United States, and Mexico. And the perks are is the data's free after a monthly limit. So after you reach a certain monthly limit of 5 or 6 gigabits, then there is no added amount. You've reached your maximum that you have to pay, and that's detailed in the contract. That's detailed on the site. So then let's look at the Simply Unlimited plan. That starts at $50 a month. You get unlimited data up to 35 gigabits at high speed. Again, anywhere in the world. And if you want to hotspot it, it's 5 gigabits for high speed. And if you want to hotspot it, you get up to 5 gigabits at high speed. Again, unlimited calls for Canada, United States, and Mexico. And the Unlimited Plus starts at $65. You get unlimited data up to 50 gigabits of high speed. Hotspotting, unlimited high speed, and unlimited calls to 50 countries, which is outside Canada, United States, and Mexico, and unlimited data and text in 200 different destinations. And the perks are you get 100 gigabits of Google One storage and 1 year of YouTube Premium for free. Both those I have and pay a lot of money for. Particularly YouTube Premium, I think you're probably looking at around $120 a year just for YouTube Premium. So that Unlimited Plus is a great plan. So in summary, I wanted to explain what Google Fi was. Many people don't know that it is actually Google's phone service. So it has a lot of benefits for you depending on where you live and what type of service you want. Please consider this. I think it's a good option. Go out to their website, have a look. It's a very flexible plan. I used it for 10 years, but remember, it is available only to residents who have a U.S. address. I'm Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Please click that like and subscribe. And being a nonprofit, we sure appreciate your donations through our coffee fund. You'll find that in the description. Until we see you again, have a great day.